we already discussed the meaning of accounting and the features of accounting. Now we'll discuss the difference between bookkeeping and accounting. First, we'll write all the 7 steps that we learned already. That is 7 steps of accounting, which starts with identification, then we have measuring, recording, classifying. Then after classification, what we have after classifying is summarizing, analyzing and interpreting, finally we will communicate it to the users. So these are the 7 steps that we learn. Now out of these, this is the entire process of accounting. Out of these, the first 4 steps, identification, measuring, recording and classifying, this is called bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is the art of identifying, measuring, recording and classifying the financial transactions and events. So specifically when you say the meaning or difference between bookkeeping and accounting, the first point of difference is the first 4 steps will come under bookkeeping. Then what is accounting? Basically accounting is the last 3 steps. Accounting, we referred it as calculation, isn't it? So we are doing calculation, that means the last 3 steps will be written under accounting. But again, accounting comprises all these 7 steps, but when you want to differentiate bookkeeping and accounting, accounting means the final 3 steps. That means accounting is art of summarizing, analyzing, interpreting and finally communicating the results to its users. And what about bookkeeping? The first 4 steps will come under bookkeeping. So accounting is a wider aspect and bookkeeping is a part of accounting. We can say like this, if this is accounting, this portion is bookkeeping. This is the meaning of, or this is the actual difference between accounting and bookkeeping. Accounting is a wider concept which includes bookkeeping also. So bookkeeping is just a part of accounting. So this is one point of difference. Then what we can say is bookkeeping is the primary stage. This is the primary stage. Already we discussed one point, that's the meaning of bookkeeping and accounting, that you can write as the first point. The second point of difference is bookkeeping is the primary stage. So this is the secondary stage and accounting starts where bookkeeping ends. Accounting starts where bookkeeping ends, because it starts after classification process. So it starts where bookkeeping ends. This is the second point. This one is bookkeeping is primary stage, accounting is secondary stage. Then bookkeeping means basically it is identifying, measuring, recording and classifying. And that job is routine in nature. That means regularly you will have to record, you will have to classify. It is routine in nature. Whereas every day are you summarizing? Like I told you, the financial statements will be prepared only at the end of the year. So every day we are not doing. So this is, accounting is analytical. You need some analytical skill for this because you have to analyze all these. And this is dynamic in nature. It is not routine in nature. This accounting job is dynamic in nature. You need to analyze the financial statements. You need to know the profit or loss. You have to take appropriate decision. So you need all these ability, and it is not routine in nature. So that is the next point of difference. Then bookkeeping can be performed even by a junior staff. Why? Because they just have to identify and they just have to write it down. They just have to record it. So it can be done even by a junior staff. Whereas accounting can be done only by an accountant. I mean, chartered accountants only will be usually doing the accounting process, because there you need to sit and calculate the figures, you have to summarize this, you have to present this. So this will be done mostly by senior staff. So junior staff for doing bookkeeping, they don't require or they don't need any special skills. Specific skills or special skills they don't need. Whereas here, the senior staff, it must be a chartered accountant and he needs some special skills or specific skills for this. So these are the point of differences between bookkeeping and accounting. From this figure itself, you can easily understand the meaning of accounting and bookkeeping. This is just a part. Accounting is a wider concept. And whenever you write the difference between bookkeeping and accounting, whatever be the question, if it is a question to differentiate, always write in columnar format. Don't write it as paragraph. You must write in columnar format. You must write bookkeeping, accounting. If you want, you can draw one more column. Heading can be basis. That is meaning you can write the stage, the scope. So all these differences you can include there. Then we can, if you want, we can write one more difference, that is the objective. The objective also we can differentiate, like the objective of bookkeeping is to maintain systematic records. We are doing recording process here. So we will maintain systematic records under bookkeeping. Whereas under accounting, what are we doing? We are finding the results of operations, the financial results we are finding. That is how we are understanding the financial position, and this will be finally communicated to the users. So the objective of accounting is to know the financial results, then to know the financial position, finally they have to communicate it. Whereas bookkeeping means just to maintain the records. So these are the basic differences between bookkeeping and accounting. The next what we are going to discuss is limitations of accounting. Limitations of accounting. We already discussed one limitation. I didn't mention it as a limitation specifically, but you would have identified it as a limitation, that is accounting records only quantitative elements. Accounting records only quantitative elements, or you can say that accounting ignores qualitative elements. Didn't we discuss that? I told you that we will be ignoring the hard work of employees. It will not be recorded in the firm's book. Why? Because it cannot be measured in money terms. So only quantitative. Quantitative means which can be expressed in money terms. Only such transactions will be recorded in the books. That is the main limitation of accounting. Feature also we mentioned the same, that is the limitation also. Then second point what you can say is it does not show the realizable value. It does not show the realizable value. The meaning is, we discussed one financial statement called balance sheet, and I told you that balance sheet will be showing the assets and liabilities. Assets means what we have, what we own. Liabilities means what we have to pay. So assets and liabilities will be shown in the balance sheet with their actual values, but it will not show the realizable value. Then what is realizable value? Realizable value means the value or the amount which you get when you sell this particular asset. Suppose you have an asset like land. Land is an asset. Even for individual, land is an asset. Okay, so land is an asset which your firm has, and when you sell this land, you will be getting a particular amount. But this will not be shown in the books. That's called the realizable value. The value which you get when you sell an asset. That figure will not be shown in the books. In the books means in the balance sheet it will not be shown. Only the actual values at which you purchased will be shown. The realizable value or the sale value will not be shown in the books of accounts. That is again a limitation of accounting. Okay, so it does not show the realizable value or it is the sale value. Realizable value means sale value. They will be writing only the actual values. Then third point what we can write is, it is not fully exact. It is not fully exact because whenever you record a transaction, like you recorded a transaction as purchased goods for rupees 20,000, and when you record it in journal, usually we'll attach something like receipts or bill, because when you purchase goods or when you sell goods, there will be a receipt or a bill in which this amount will be mentioned. So as a proof, when you write a transaction in journal, along with that we'll be attaching a receipt or a bill. So you can check whether the amount in the bill and the amount you recorded in the books are same. You can verify that. You can cross check it. But even then, accounting has a limitation, like accounting is not fully exact because there are chances for bad debt. Bad debt means, as the name indicates, debt that is becoming bad. Debt that is becoming bad means, suppose you sold goods to Ram for rupees 25,000. And Ram, this transaction we'll write like it happened on June 23rd. Okay, June 23rd this transaction took place, and Ram told us that he will make the payment only after 1 week, and we agreed. So right now we are not getting anything in cash, we are not getting any amount, but after 1 week he'll be paying us this 25,000. Now such transactions are called transactions on credit. That means payment will be done on a later date. Okay. Suppose Ram couldn't make the payment on that agreed date. Ram didn't make the payment on agreed date, and now this will turn as bad debts. The debts or the amount which you can't recover is called bad debts. So next week, suppose he agreed that he'll make the payment on 29th of June, but he couldn't make the payment, then that debt will be termed as bad debts, the debts which we can't recover. And for meeting this bad debts, already the firm would have maintained something called as provision for bad debts. This would have maintained by the firm well in advance, not at the time of occurring bad debts. In the beginning of the year itself, every firm will be maintaining something called as provision for bad debts. That is a provision which is kept aside specifically for meeting bad debts. And how will you keep this provision? Out of the profit. Suppose you had profit of 1 lakh in a year, and out of that 1 lakh, you transferred 20,000 as provision. Out of the profit 1 lakh, you transferred 20,000 as provision. Why you are keeping a provision? To meet bad debts. What is bad debts? Debts which we can't get from Ram in case he doesn't make the payment. If he makes the payment 25,000 next week, there is no need of this provision. But every firm will be having a provision in the beginning of the year itself. Whether you have bad debts or not, there will be a provision always for the firm. Now the question is whether to use it or not. So that depends on the situation. If there is bad debts, so in this situation he didn't make the payment and we have bad debts. We can't recover this 25,000. In such a situation, it will result in a loss. It's a loss for us. We sold goods, we didn't get the payment. So in that case, to meet the loss, we have kept already something called as provision. So that is why the firm is keeping a provision always. Expecting a loss, they will keep a provision in advance. All firms will be doing this. So you have a provision of 20, but see the bad debts. You need to face or you need to meet a loss of 25, but you had kept only an amount of 20,000 because this is based on estimation. We don't know what will be the amount of bad debts, isn't it? So this figure 20,000, when you kept it as provision, that was just an estimated figure. But in reality, what happened? Your bad debts is much more than that. We can meet only 20,000 out of these. Out of this, again we have a loss of 5,000, which we can't meet right now. Because we did this provision, we kept this provision based on estimation. So that is the next limitation of accounting. It is not fully exact. There can be estimations like this. Though you are attaching proof like a receipt or a bill, there can be estimations like this. So that is a limitation of accounting. Then next what we can say is, it leads to, that's the next point, it leads to window dressing. Accounting leads to window dressing. That term is a new term for you, window dressing. Usually students will say like dressing up the window. Here in accounting, window dressing means manipulation of accounts. Manipulation of accounts, and a best example what we can mention here for window dressing is Satyam scandal. That is the case of Satyam Computers that happened years back. I don't know how many of you have heard this Satyam scandal or the case of Satyam Computers. This was a famous IT company and the founder is Ramalinga Raju. And what happened is they manipulated their accounts. They showed inflated profits. Inflated profits means profit which is higher than the actual profits. A better position they were showing for consecutive years. Why that advantage or why they are using that? Why they are showing inflated profits? Because they can attract more and more investors. When you have inflated profits, when your firm is having more profit, people will come and invest in your firm. So that's an advantage for your firm. So for that, this Satyam Computers, they were showing inflated profits, and that means they manipulated the accounts. That is how they can show the inflated profits. They manipulated their accounts. They didn't reveal so many vital facts, important facts they didn't reveal, and they showed inflated profits. Later it was found and Satyam Computers had to shut down. They had to stop their operations. So this Satyam Computers scandal is the best example for window dressing. Window dressing means manipulation of accounts and showing inflated profits or showing a better position than what it actually is. How they are showing better position? By manipulating accounts and by hiding the vital facts. They won't reveal the actual facts and they will show a better position than what it actually is. So that example you can mention here, the example of Satyam Computers. Then the last limitation of accounting is accounting ignores the effect of price level changes. Accounting ignores the effect of price level changes. Meaning is, suppose you purchased a land. Today you purchased, June 23rd, 2020, you purchased a land for rupees 5 lakhs. Immediately you will be recording it in the balance sheet. Balance sheet as an asset, you will write this land of 5 lakhs. Now after 5 years or after 10 years, we know that in this present situation, the price of land will keep on increasing. So after 10 years, the price of land became 20 lakhs. Suppose it became 20 lakhs, but in your books, it will be shown only at rupees 5 lakhs because we are following a principle called historical cost principle. History means something that happened in the past. History means past. So historical cost principle, here it is PLE. Historical cost principle means assets will be shown at the value at which it is purchased, not the current value. So that is again a limitation. After 10 years also, we will be showing land for rupees 5 lakhs. But in the market, the value would be, the actual value would be 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs. But in your books, in the balance sheet, the value will remain as 5 lakhs. This is according to historical cost principle and it is a limitation of accounting. So we discussed the limitations also. The first one, yes, it ignores the qualitative elements, that was the first one. Then it does not show the realizable value, that is the sale value. Then it is not fully exact. Then what we discussed is it leads to window dressing, fourth point. And finally, accounting ignores the effect of price level changes. So these are the limitations of accounting and we already discussed the difference between bookkeeping and accounting.